That which is really, really fun. Oh, here we go.
There it is. Okay.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called This, You May ask? So I'll tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guest and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And also, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Alexi Aldine. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching this show live or at a later date, as it means a lot to me to connect with like minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Ray, and I'm a guide who helps you remember your divine presence so that you can heal your past, create your future, and transform your present. To raise your consciousness, understand your spiritual path, and take charge of your destiny so you can spread your wings and soar. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I use angelic Reiki, future life progression, past life regression, guided meditations, angel oracle cards, and divine presence to assist you in remembering why you are here, your spiritual path, and clarity on the next steps to take. I also offer multidimensional virtual retreats, several transformational packages, a journey through lifetimes, a 6-week guided meditation series to help you gain confidence, a physical retreat down in Glastonbury, and various workshops. Now, each episode of this show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation on angel oracle card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Alexi Aldine, about how your purpose is in your hands. Now, Alexi is a master practitioner and neurolinguist programming NLP. She is also certified in theta healing and scientific hand analysis, and has analysed more than 1,550 hands of female entrepreneurs from around the world. Now, Alexi is the founder and creator of Dare to Be You, an online academy where she supports spiritual teachers, coaches, and healers to live their purpose and create their dream business, sharing their intuitive gifts. With her unique methodology, combining her background in personal development and her experience in acting, writing, and marketing, Alexi helps clients go from playing small and hiding their intuitive gifts to being confident and sharing their esoteric superpowers and making the difference they came here to make. Now, within 60 seconds of looking at your hands, Alexa can tell you why you're stuck and how to get you unstuck. So, how is that possible? Well, because the fingerprints and lines on your hands make up a blueprint of your soul's agenda, and Alexa will be showing you how using my hands today. So, without further delay, hello, Alexi, and welcome to the Angels of Destiny show. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, very well. Thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what you've got to say about my hands.
Yes. Have you now let me ask you this. Have you ever had your hands analyzed before?
Years and years and years and years ago. Yeah, we're probably talking. Look at my palm and tell me what you see. So, yeah. So I imagine things have changed slightly differently
Yeah.
since then. So for everyone watching, before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Alexi and I want to be part of this conversation. So please do not be shy. So Alexi, why don't you tell us more about your journey and how we can find our purpose in our hands?
Yes. Well, it happened many, many moons ago. I was going through a dark night of the soul. I moved to LA to become an actress, Los Angeles. And I was finding myself working 60-hour weeks at a day job, assisting executives, making photocopies, fetching coffee, dry cleaning, instead of working in front of the camera. And I was, struggling at that point. And I was kind of depressed because I would watch people come into the office pitching their TV shows or movies, moving their careers forward while mine was suffering. And I always thought, I was meant to do something on this earth, not just kind of be a cog in the wheel. And so I woke up every day thinking there's got to be more to life than this. This can't be what my life is about, just clocking in and out of a day job. And then just when I didn't think it could get any worse, I'm a big animal lover. and I had my animal companion, little fluffy Lhasa Apso named Scruffy, and he'd seen me through different apartments, graduating from college, being in
Yeah.
college and getting different jobs. And I took him in for a routine dental. They found a lump in his jaw, and 30 days later, he was gone.
Mm.
So I thought, talk about feeling like the universe kicked me when I was already feeling down. And I just really didn't care anymore about what was going on in my life because I'd, in a way, given up. And then a friend at work pulled me aside and said, "Look, you're too young to be this depressed. You need to go see my coach." And I thought, well, what is she going to tell me that my astrologer can't? Because maybe this is just, one of those cycles in my life where hopefully it'll come to an end. And she said she'll give you the instruction manual to your life. And I said, "Oh my God, I need that right now," because I need to know what's going on. And so just by looking at the lines and fingerprints in my hand, she told me things that nobody else knew about me, like how I felt guilty for at the time, making more money than my parents in a week of acting work, or when I felt guilty when I didn't book any acting work because I wasn't living up to my potential. And I was just baffled by what she could do and what she was able to tell me. And when I left there, for the first time in my life, I felt like I was seen. Have you ever felt that way where like someone totally gets you, but not in the normal, "Hi,
Yeah.
nice to meet," you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what
Because
you
you
mean.
you do this type of work, the esoteric work. It's just like that soul, like someone saw inside my soul, And so I started working with this woman, and within 2 months, I booked two national commercials that paid my rent for 2 years. And I
Wow.
was like, wow, because it somehow just understanding this blueprint in my hands, I don't know, gave me a sense of permission to be myself fully in the world, you know? And so I left that day job, never looked back, and I started learning how to analyze hands and I got certified in it. And I started helping other actors do the same, book work, leave their day jobs, and then I started working with women entrepreneurs. And it oftentimes happens when I look at someone's hands, I really totally get them and where they're coming from. And so there's a shift that happens when someone recognizes that they're being recognized. And that's what gives me such great pleasure in what it is that I do, because how many people would like to know, like, okay, why is it that I'm stuck here doing the same? Have you ever noticed you do the same thing over and over again,
Yeah.
trying to get a different result, and it just doesn't happen? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Isn't that
Yeah, it's like that
insanity?
hamster wheel again and again and again, or you're pulling an oracle card,
Exactly.
same oracle card again and again and again.
Yes. Yes. And so the fingerprints, the gentleman who created this, discovered that there's a pattern in your fingerprints. And after analyzing 30,000 hands, he broke down this pattern. And so that's why in your fingerprints, your what's called your life purpose is revealed. It's your highest ranking fingerprints. And your life purpose is that thing that makes your heart sing, that you do as easily as breathing. It's that thing people are always wondering, like, why am I here? It's actually in your fingerprints. And additionally, in your fingerprints are what's called your life lessons, your blind spots. Those things, again, like the hamster wheel, why do I keep making the same mistake? And really, that mistake you're making or that blind spot is there to help you have a greater experience of your purpose. And so once you can get that and actually master it, your purpose just shows up, in everything you do. And then today we're going to look at some of the major lines in your hands. And because there are about 16 to 18 what's called gift markings, special and unique talents and abilities that you have that you absolutely must use in your life. Otherwise, you feel this thing called a penalty. And that's there to remind you that you have these gifts that you absolutely must use. And you have two that I could see immediately. Actually, three.
Okay.
So if you're not using them, you'll experience the flip side of them in order. It's kind of like an owie from the universe. Like when you think, the dark night of the soul, that's usually happens when you're going through something because you've kind of like, imagine here's your soul's purpose. You're together, but when you turn your back on it, then you feel alienation and stagnation. And that's one of the penalties you can have if you've got the spiritual teacher gift. So, is it okay if I share some of the things I saw
Yeah,
in your hands?
certainly.
Okay. Okay, great. So,
Do you want
I
me
don't
to
know.
put up one of the hands or?
Yes, and you actually have similar markings in both hands.
Okay. So do you want my left or my right hand?
Let's do your right hand because your right hand is how you be out in the world. So this is you in business,
Right, so that's my
and your
right
left
hand.
hand represents how you be at home with close friends and family. So that's your right hand. Awesome.
Mhm.
All right. So see the purple line hugging around your thumb? That's
Yep.
called your lifeline. And then the aqua line is your headline. It represents how much time you spend processing information in your head. And if you'll notice, yours is very long. So chances are you spend a lot of time in your head. Would that be true?
That'd be very true. Yes. Yes,
Just
sometimes I'm
thinking.
told, "Get out of your head."
Exactly. And actually, it's a gift that you have because if you notice how that headline goes down to this part of your palm,
Mhm.
right? So that's a gift marking we call Persephone. Okay. Do you know anything about Persephone in Greek mythology?
I should do, and I know I've read about
Okay.
her, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, she is queen of the underworld.
That's it.
She, remember, and her mom Demeter, her mother Demeter,
That's it, yeah.
right? And so what happened is her uncle Hades captured her and took her down to the underworld. And she loved being outdoors, she loved being with animals, being in the sunshine, but once she went down to the underworld, she was able to access deeper inner wisdom. Because what the gift, the Persephone gift, is all about is about going to the depths of your soul, like let's say a dark night of the soul, right? Learning what you learned down below and then coming up like Persephone in the springtime. Her uncle Hades and her mother Demeter made an agreement that every spring she'd be able to come up on the surface and share what she learned down below. So part of that gift of your Persephone is you taking that deeper meanings of life through your own dark life experiences, coming up to the surface and sharing them in your work. How does that relate to you? How does that fit you?
Um, yes and no, I think is the answer to that
Okay.
one.
So maybe, so check this out, because the penalty for not using Persephone, right? Because the Persephone gift is about sharing wisdom with the
Yeah.
public, right? And this is kind of what you're doing on your platform, doing your Facebook and YouTube lives. But this is about you sharing also your story, because I know how you love interviewing other people. And I wonder if you let other people interview you, because this gift is about sharing your story of your dark night of the soul or different life experiences that aren't necessarily on the lighter side, right?
Mm,
And what you'll experience when you're not using the gift, when you're not sharing your story, is depression, lethargy, feeling captured, right? Letting the mother role person influence you and make your decisions. Those are some of the penalties you can experience. So depending on whether or not you're using your gifts, you can gauge by whether or not you're experiencing the penalty. Does that make
okay.
sense?
That makes absolute sense. So I must be using it because none of that sort of like stuff kind of like really it's kind of like happened in my life. So
Oh, good. Yeah, and there's one more thing that I want to share about the phrase that's associated with this gift is called helping lost souls find their way home.
ah,
Yeah, and that's what I imagine you're doing with your YouTube lives and Facebook lives.
it is, and that
Mhm.
is my thing is divine presence, healing your past, creating your future, and transforming your
Yes.
present. So it's remembering why you were here
Exactly.
and what your purpose is.
Exactly, exactly. And if you look at the aqua line and your purple lifeline there, see how they're separate?
Mm,
A lot of people have them connected. So, what that usually means in someone is you're an independent thinker. You see the world through your own way. You're not going to necessarily be influenced by others as
yeah.
much as other people would if they had that attached. Um, and there's Sharmila. She says she has a Persephone. I have a Persephone line too. So
Yay!
yay. Birds of a feather flock together, right?
Yay! Eric, do you have I can't even
Persephone.
Persephone line? Because yeah. So Eric, have a look at your hand. Let us know if your aqualine, the aqualine on yours goes all the way down.
Yes. All right, so that's one gift marking. The other marking, if you look at the pink line that's going up to your index finger, that is your heart line. We had kind of talked about this a little while ago when you watched another presentation that I had done. And so your heart line is what is called a water heart line, and its gift is nurturing. So you are a nurturer. Oh, hi, tall. So you are a nurturer, and so the water heart line is a you first element, meaning it likes to meet other people's needs before it meets its own. And its non negotiable need in relationship is emotional connection. It hates disconnect. And the challenge with the water heart line is that it needs to maintain its own shape. Because, like this, it's in a glass, right? If I were to
Yeah.
pour this glass of water straight down without a container, it would go all over the place.
Yes.
So, for those of you in the audience, if you look at your heart line, if you have a water heart line, it's really important to have a container for everything you do. And I noticed for you, Ray, you have it out in the world, in your work life, as well as at home with close friends and family. So, I'm wondering if there are any challenges that you've experienced as far as maintaining your own shape, either in work or with your loved ones, because that's where the challenges come in with that.
Yeah, I think when I've worked in sort of like not in the business in other things, yeah, it's kind of like I don't actually conform too much to that. I'm kind of like march to my own beat.
Exactly.
I march to my own beat. Yeah,
Yes, especially with that headline separate from your lifeline, you definitely do that. Yeah, and so it's a very big nurturer, so in your work, I'll bet that the clients you work with really feel a strong connection with you. Would that be true?
yeah. I'd say that was true. Any of my clients watching, you're more than welcome to say yes or no to that.
I'll be like,
The
"What
answer
is
is
she
yes.
talking about?" Yes. Exactly. And so, yeah, so for water heartline people, let's say, if you have this type of heartline in your right hand out in the world, the type of work you're going to want to do it because this is a non-negotiable need, meaning if you start negotiating this need of emotional connection, it can wreak havoc in your experience and of satisfaction in your work if it's in the right hand. Now, if you have it in the left hand and you don't get emotional connection at home or with close friends and family, that's when you're going to feel like something's missing in your relationships. So, out in the world, chances are, I'm wondering, in your work, do you prefer to do one-on-one sessions or big group sessions or
I like doing both.
okay, and which one do you feel, most energized by?
Oh, I'd probably say the group.
Okay, and then what, in the groups, do you normally connect with people individually, or is it more like a lecture type of thing? Like, how close do you get to know people?
I normally keep my if I'm doing training and that, I normally keep it quite small, so I can
Exactly,
spend individual time with
exactly.
each person, yeah.
Yeah, because you would rather do that, your heart lines would rather do that than, let's say, speak in front of 500 people, and that's your job, because it would leave you feeling empty,
Gotcha,
because
yeah.
I know when I do big groups and don't get to know people individually, at least a couple of them, I always feel like, "Oh," everyone tells me, "Oh, that was so awesome, that was a great class," but I don't feel fulfilled.
Mm. Yeah,
So that's
actually
like
actually, now when I think about it and I've done talks and that, yeah,
right? It's good, like,
yeah,
people are getting a lot from you, but how do you feel as far as your satisfaction
yes.
level?
Yeah, never thought
Yeah.
about that before.
Yeah. So if you wanna, like, do big groups, great, and if you do, like, breakout sessions or hot seat sessions, that's what's gonna make you feel fulfilled. So,
Wonderful.
any questions so far on those
We
couple of
have,
things?
Scorpio Sun says, "Can we find out how many marriages someone will have or has had?"
Oh, okay, so here's the thing with the type of hand analysis, palmistry I do. None of what I do is predictive. It's more like think of it as like a personality test, but I know all the answers. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to like answer question. You know how those personality tests you have to answer questions on a scale
Yeah,
of 1 to 10. This is just basically reading this database. It's very teachable because this line means this line means that, and how each person experiences it. Just like when I asked you, how what type of teaching do you prefer, big groups or small groups? We found the nuances of
Yeah.
what really makes your heart happy. So unfortunately, I don't know how to tell how many marriages someone has or will have through this type of analysis. But if you tell me like what type of business you want to start, or something that's challenging you, I could definitely help you with that based on certain lines in your hands. But it's
Yeah.
not predictive, it's just how you're wired to experience relationships, experience money or wealth, experience success or health. That I could help you with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a
And
great question.
that's a great question. And yes, it can be. If I remember back to my mum, because my mum did the old school palmistry.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's to do with the
The little lines
lines
here.
on the side of
Yes.
your hand. I think if I remember correctly.
Yes. That's what I heard too.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
didn't research it, so I didn't want to say.
No, no. I think that's what. God, something stuck from when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had my palms analyzed like that. I would love to, just to see what would happen, you know?
Yeah, no, that would be interesting. So obviously that's my right hand.
Yes. So do you
Um,
wanna put up your left hand?
yeah, so we can sort of like see the so it is quite
See,
similar
look
really,
how
isn't it?
similar that is. Yes. So now what's curious to me, notice how the aqua line looks a little bit straighter than the other
Mm.
one. And I'm not sure if it's the way you're holding your hand, but if you could look at your hands, is it as curvy, the the left headline as the right? Does that make sense, what I'm asking?
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. Um, it looks like it actually
I'm leaning in as if I could see your hands.
yeah, it's like yeah, you can't really see your
Yeah.
on there. So that's
So that's
my
your right
right
hand, that
hand.
looks like it's dipping down, and how about your left hand?
So that's my left hand.
It looks like it's dipping down too, yeah, so
Yeah,
you have a Persephone in that hand also. So at home with close friends and family, you like, the conversations you like are probably really deep and meaningful
yeah.
conversations. Like, I can't do small talk. I'm not interested in small talk. I wanna know.
I can do it, but I prefer the deeper conversations.
Exactly. Like, I wanna know what makes you tick, like, what are you up to in life? What's happening with you, you know? And then if you look at the your heart line, it's the same thing. So at home, the what really rings your bell is having deep emotional connections with people. So if you have friends, you love connecting with them, with your family, you would love connecting with them and maintaining your independence because again, that headline is very separate from that purple lifeline.
Yeah,
Does that make sense? So you love connecting and yet you love maintaining your own identity. Again, listening to the beat of your own drummer.
yeah, yeah. So so the lifeline,
Yes.
that doesn't tell you how long you're gonna live or die, does it?
No, I mean,
You
I
can't
know
like think of that
I
lifeline.
know. No, people can read that, I don't. I don't look at that, but on the lifeline, like, if I had a better picture, you could see, things like abnormalities in health, like, one time because there is a timeline on that lifeline. One time
Okay.
I looked at a client's hands, and it was kind of yellowish and purplish in a certain point, and I said, "Did something happen when you were, like, 15 with your health where things were a little off?" She goes, "That's when I was diagnosed with cancer." We're like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
That shocked me because 'cause I'm just asking questions based on the lines that I see. Like, again, I didn't predict that, or I didn't see that for her. All I could see is a timeline on that particular line and just ask questions. So, yes, so that people can predict that. I don't though. Thank goodness.
Yeah, yeah. Just thought I'd check,
Yes,
on
exactly.
that one, although I think if I remember correctly, I've got quite a long life, but
Yes.
but hey, that's where we go. So are they the 3 main lines that you look at on someone's hand when
They're
you
the
do your
lines I
analysis?
do. Yeah, they're the lines I look at, like, for this type of situation, or let's say at a party, because those are the clearest lines you can see. And so the one line I'd like to share with you that I didn't mark out because I wanted to ask you first on your pinky. And so for those of you at home watching, notice if you have these like five little lines. Imagine if you took a razor
See.
blade and etched these lines. I don't know if you could see. Yeah, see, I can see yours, even though so you have like five or more lines. So that's another special gift marking that you have called message for the masses. So that particular gift is you have a message to share, obviously. Look at you on this platform, right?
Yeah.
And so that's it's called lines of genius. And so you have a message to share. And when you're not sharing your message doing this type of work, you'll experience this thing called chasing your tail going nowhere fast. So you'll do busy work, you'll avoid doing things that you know you need to do. And part of that is because it's just this energy that wants to be expressed.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So now if we combine your Persephone line with your message for the masses,
Mm.
that's all about you having deep conversation, sharing your inner wisdom out in the world.
Okay.
And when you're not doing that, so let's look at the flip side when you're not using your gift markings, you will experience being depressed and chasing your tail, going nowhere, doing busy work, avoiding being in the public because that particular gift, the one on the pinky, is a public gift
Got
as
you.
well as the Persephone. So you are designed, you're hardwired to be a public person, let's say, which you're doing brilliantly with your lives.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So,
Yeah.
so if someone didn't have those lines, that means they're more of a private person, or
Yes. Yes, that they don't have them. Well, what's wonderful about that is you could still be a public person without having those lines. What these lines are there for are to remind you because oftentimes when I look at someone's hands, they're in the penalty phase. They avoid using those gifts, you know? And so you don't necessarily have to have those lines in order to use or do those gifts or the behavior of those gifts. But when you do have those lines, it's imperative. To me, it's like your soul left itself a map to go, oh, that's right. This is part of why I came here. I need to remember to do that.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not doing it in your business, I mean, because you've been doing this for how long?
Well, this
Your
show
healer
since
work.
2018, but the healing work
Yeah.
since forever.
Exactly. So you knew that that's what you're meant to do and you do it. And I've been curious about this work since I was a little kid, this type of esoteric knowledge, right? And so for other people that I meet who let's say they're working at a day job like I was when I first moved to LA, I knew there was something more, but I couldn't quite place my finger on it. You know, you are so lucky. I wish I grew up with a mom who read hands. I
And an
did.
aunt who did tarot.
Oh my gosh, did they teach you how to do that stuff?
No, I just kind of like I kind of like did my own sort of like thing. I think I learnt runes at one point, because I didn't want to do whatever, didn't want to do the tarot, the palm. I want to do my own thing.
Of course.
Um, so yeah, so I was around all that, and obviously you do pick up bits and pieces,
Yes.
and that from it when you're a child, because you are a sponge and you pick up everything. But yeah, no, they didn't teach me per se. Um, how
That's
how to do it.
God, I would have been so curious about that if if I grew up in your family. I'd be like, "Teach me how to do that," you know?
Yeah, I was too busy. I was too busy watching the stars and
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
figure out how things work. I was one of those kids, and back in the day when I was a kid, I've always been one of those kids that ask questions.
Yes.
How, why, what, where.
Yes.
And I wanted, and they got me a microscope set kit. But in those days, they put real scalpels in there. They didn't have all this health and safety back
Oh my
then.
god. Wow.
So I actually have a scar on my finger there.
From
So
playing with your scalpel?
basically, yeah, I was cutting something up and I cut myself. But my first thought was, "Oh, I can look at my blood underneath the microscope." Yeah, that's kind of like how my brain would work. Oh, I want to look
Yes.
at the stars. Can I have a telescope, please?
Yes. Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah.
And so anyone watching, if you've been looking at your hands and you think, oh, my line, if you want to put on there and describe where your line is, whilst you've got Alexi here, make use of her.
Exactly, or post it, you know what? Also, because this will be on your business page, or where's this?
This will stay on my Facebook page and on my YouTube
Okay,
page.
cool. Well, if you want who so if anyone's interested, if you wanna post a picture of the palm of your hand until, let's say, what's today? Let's say till the 21st of the month or till
Okay.
the new moon. I
Yep.
think that's the 20th, maybe.
Yes.
And
Yes. About yeah, 20th, 21st. It's about them.
okay. Yeah, so until the new moon in January 2023, post a picture of the palm of your hands, and I will let you know what, some of the major lines mean in your hands, and I'll
Beautiful.
comment back. Yeah, feel free to do that because I love doing that for people. Yeah, because
Oh,
it's
that's
always so
brilliant.
curious to me, you know?
Yeah.
I would when I first learned how to do this, I'd be at grocery stores and I'd be, like, peeking at people's hands. And at my job, I'd be like, "Can I just look at your hands?" And I'd be like, "Oh, thank you." And then I'd walk away to be like, "Wait, wait, wait, what? What did you see?" You know? Because I would tell my teacher, "Doesn't everybody have that line?" She's like, "No." And sure enough, I would look at other people's lines going, "Wow, you are so not like me." Or, "Wow, we are so similar." Like, you and I are very similar. We have very similar lines. Birds of
Yeah.
a feather.
Yeah. So do you find that sort of like when you're interacting with people, um, that you kind of like you'll take and go, oh yeah, that your hand's so similar to. Do you find there's a lot of people that have a lot of these similar lines that you come with?
Yes, I find what's interesting is a few friends, went through the program with me, the hand analysis training, and they would attract people who kind of matched their hands, and I would attract people who kind of matched my hands. Like one woman in particular, she was all about love relationships. So she would always attract people who wanted to know about their love life. And because that's not in my hands, I would traditionally attract people who want to know about their business or their acting career or their careers. So yeah, so it's again that energetic to me, again, birds of like attracts like, birds of
Yeah.
a feather type of thing. Yeah. So I will never have like an accountant sitting in front of me. Let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that would be interesting.
Right? Those people don't ever find me. Yeah, they just aren't in my field, in my orbit.
Yeah.
Um,
So Carolina's problem, I think we've already covered this. Where are the marriage relationship lines, please? Yeah, and we were saying they
it's
are sort of
here.
like here.
Yeah.
um, and that, and there's loads of online stuff that tells you about the lines. It's actually quite accurate as well, sort of like how deep your relationship is going to
Mhm.
be. So but yeah, so it can uh yeah, tell you about your personal life, but
Yes.
said it's also about how you show up in the world. I think is so
Yes.
important because I think
Mhm.
sometimes we forget about that. We concentrate so much on relationships like marriage and and things like that that we forget about how we show up.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because people I mean, because it's clear I will meet people like you who are already on your purpose. So all the things are like, "Oh, yeah, I do that." Because I'll never tell anybody anything they don't know about themselves already. And what I will tell you, especially if you are in the penalties of your gifts, let's say, or if you're in your blind spots, how to put it all together so that life makes sense again.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
that.
because when you're on the path, you're on the path. But this is a great map for when you get off the path.
Yeah, see that's a good thing. Yeah, what aren't you doing, or what,
Yes.
yeah, which will then help you go further.
Exactly. Yeah, like when I first started learning online marketing, because I wanted to work with people outside of Los Angeles. So I wanted to learn online marketing. So I took all these marketing classes and I did everything I was told. And I launched a digital program to help people lose weight using my background in NLP. And I had people, friends send it out to their mailing list. And I thought, oh, I'm going to make so much money doing this, right? Because everybody wants to lose weight. Crickets. Nobody cared. And I was like, "Oh my god, why didn't this work?" They said, my teacher said it would work. And my boyfriend at the time said, "Hey, you're always telling people within 60 seconds of looking at their hands, you can tell them why they're stuck and how to get them unstuck. So why don't you coach yourself? So I was like, oh, yeah. So I looked at my hands. And you know how I was talking to you about the emotional connection? How much emotional connection can you get by just putting out an email with a digital product?
You can't
In a,
really.
no, in an area that I didn't really care about, losing weight. I mean, sure, I cared, but not like where you and I are talking one on one or about meaningful things in your life, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at my hands and I course corrected and I told myself what I would tell a client if she was in the position I was in. And then I rebooted what I was doing. I created a program where I got to talk with people in a small group online. And I think within that, like a couple weeks later, I did a free teleclass. 15 people showed up to the call, 7 people signed up for my program. And I was like, yes, this is how, because I was honoring what I call your hardwiring and staying on path. Because
Yeah.
I'm suspect to, subject to bright shiny object syndrome. It's like, oh, that looks like fun. I want to do
I
that,
do
but then
that.
it's not me, right? Because it
Yes.
works for her because her hands have that, but mine don't. And so that's what's really great about this blueprint or this map, because when you're off, when something's not working, rather than banging your head against the wall, you could easily just look at this map on your hands and go, okay, what am I not honoring here? Where am I off? Yeah. And so when you're on your path, though, everything's fine. When you're off is when you want to, come see me or come see you to get back
Yeah.
on track. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever noticed that the lines on your hands will change if you're
Yes.
so they do change.
Yes, and it's so funny because I didn't mark this again, but you and I have so funny, we have several similar things. I don't know if you could see this. No, I don't think you can. See
Okay.
that? You have this in your hand also.
That,
Is this your right hand? Let
um,
me see your left hand. I think it might be in your left hand. Oh, yes, it's in your no, it's in your right hand.
yep. Okay. So let me get rid of that one.
Okay. See how it's underneath the aqua line? At the
Yeah.
end of the aqua line, you've got, like, 3 lines crisscrossing?
Yes.
So that if you're in the audience, look if you have, 3 lines crisscrossing at that part, the palm of your hand. That is a spiritual teacher gift marking.
Ah.
So you have, flashes of intuition and insight, and you're here to share that. And obviously, you're already doing it. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. You're
That's a
almost no fun because
confirmation.
you're already doing it. Yes. So, your spiritual teacher, and I'm going to give you one more. It's you have a line of clairvoyance, but again, you already knew that about yourself.
Where's the line of clairvoyance?
After this, I'll mark it out for you and send it to you. But it's a curve. If you do okay,
Yeah.
let's see if I can do that. See how you have this fat, kind of fleshy, curvy
Yeah.
thing right here? See how in that picture you can see a line that's making that curve?
Mm.
Imagine it's a mirror image of the purple line
Yeah.
on the opposite. So that's your line of clairvoyance.
Ah.
And so that means you have a connection to the universe and you are meant to be using that. It's the universal lifeline. And when you're not doing that in your work because it's in your right hand, the penalty you'll experience is called alienation and stagnation. So if you could track different moments in your life when you've experienced any of these penalties, and I would bet money that you're not using one of your gifts.
Okay.
Like if you've ever experienced that. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, sort of like over the years.
Yeah, it's for me, I just describe it as dark night of the soul. It's like when I'm off. And so that's again, just by looking at your hands, you're like, okay, so look for the penalties you're experiencing, flip it over and use the gift marking, and then you'll get out of that penalty.
This is so fascinating that you can get so much from sort of like just looking at your
Yes.
hands about what you should be doing and how you can and what you're not
Yeah.
doing, which is stopping you from getting there.
Yes, exactly. I have a student who literally wrote down on one side of a piece of paper all her gifts, and on the other side, all the penalties. And then on one side, her life purpose, and on the other side, her lessons, her blind spots. And she would look at it like once a week to go, oh, okay, I'm on track, or oh, that's where I need to do the work. Because it just points out to her exactly where her challenge is in that moment. It's kind of weird if you think about it, though, how lines in your hands can tell you specifically what you're going through, you
Yeah.
know? It's amazing to me.
And of course the fact that they can change as well.
Yes. Yeah, because the lines in your hands are like representations of your major neural pathways. So when your neural pathways, your beliefs or thoughts change, the lines will end up changing. Not the major lines like the heart line,
Mm.
the headline, the ones that I marked in your picture, but the smaller lines can change.
Ah, that is so fascinating. And in fact, Eric says, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing all of this.
Oh, you're welcome, Eric. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and if you want to share your palm on YouTube or Facebook, well, probably not YouTube because you can't. Can you? I don't think you can attach a picture
I
on
don't know. I
YouTube.
don't think you could attach a picture on in the
No,
comments on YouTube,
no.
but
But if,
here,
but if you want to go onto Facebook, Eric, and put a picture of your palm on there, that'll be pretty cool. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be fascinating. So apart from so do you find that most of your work now is doing the analyzing of the hands, or do you find the NLP and other stuff comes in as well, or is it mainly just the hand
Oh,
analysis?
well, the hand analysis, because I work mainly with women entrepreneurs who are spiritual entrepreneurs, coaches and healers who do things that are off the beaten path, like you and I do. A lot of energy healers, astrologers, tarot readers, coaches who incorporate a lot of intuitive gifts in what they do. So I take the hand analysis, and that's just the first step in what I call, my Dare to Be You Academy, because this is the blueprint of why you're here and what you're meant to do. And for a lot of my clients, their purpose is synonymous with their job or their work in the world. And so once they know what they're here to do, or they already have an inkling, I usually attract women who are kind of struggling in their coaching business, let's say, or their energy healing business. I look at their hands, and then I help them be able to kind of align their business with their purpose and what they're meant to do, and attract more clients being in alignment. So the NLP comes in by helping people when they're blocked, with self-limiting beliefs. And then I also help them then create their marketing message or uncover their marketing message through the hands, through their life story, and create their, let's say, group program or their emails. So it's kind of like an all-encompassing thing, with the hand analysis being the first step.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of, I don't know about you, but a lot of healers and coaches I know hate marketing because they
Yeah.
don't, right? Because they don't wanna feel like charlatans, or they don't wanna be burned at the stake for, like, sticking their neck out, and that's where what I love doing, because I'm here to help my clients feel safe in the world with their unique intuitive gifts. Because a lot of people don't wanna, like, be called a weirdo, or because they've experienced that a lot of their lives. And so I help them create their marketing message and create a safe container for themselves so that they can share their gifts
Yeah.
publicly,
Okay.
especially if they have public gifts like you do. Because imagine if you were scared to go public with what you do.
Yeah.
That would be a completely different life, wouldn't it?
Oh my God. Yeah. I wouldn't leave the house.
Exactly, exactly, especially when all your life is about this type of stuff, because it encompasses your belief system, and it encompasses what draws you in the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And Eric says, I wasn't able to send it on Facebook because it wasn't showing up. I sent it through Messenger to Ray. Oh, okay. I'll don't know if I can I get into uh Messenger here? Possibly not because I'm on that Facebook, so I can't get into my business one at the moment because I'm on my personal. It's very,
Oh,
very strange.
okay.
Um yeah, but what I can do, Eric, after the show's finished, I can actually attach it to the comments and get Alexi to have a look, and do it for you on the on
Yeah,
the on the
I
on
would
the
love to do that.
on the comment side. So yeah, so thank you, Eric, for doing that. I'll make sure that goes onto the comments so Alexi can actually post that on or comment on it. So as you know, I do angel oracle card reads and also do guided meditations. And each week I like to ask my guests what they would like me to do for themselves and watching. So, Alexi, would you like me to do a mini guided meditation or pull an angel oracle card for you and those watching?
Ooh. And the guided meditation, what would that be like? Anything?
It would be whatever came through.
Okay, you know what? I would love to do that. I'm
Eh,
game for that.
Okay. Well, actually, what we'll do, because I actually quite
Or
like
do you
doing
wanna pull
this.
the cards?
What I'll do is I'll pull a card and then I'll do a guided meditation from the card.
Oh, I like that. Okay, let's do
Okay,
that.
so what do Alexi and everyone who's watching this need to know for their highest good at this moment in time, and where can we take them on a guided meditation? Okay, what's that? Guided meditation. Okay, oh, okay, so you want to come out. Okay, so close your eyes,
Hmm.
and as you do so, take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, just release everything that doesn't need to be in this space. Take another deep breath in, and on the out breath, just release everything that doesn't need to be in this space. And think about relaxing your whole body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, all the way down your arms to your fingertips. For when you think about relaxing, so you will relax. Give yourself permission and allow yourself to relax. And just feel that relaxation at the top of your head, massaging the top of your head, feeling so relaxed. And just allow that relaxation to move down your head, down your brow, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your cheek, and your mouth, all the way down to your jaw. As that relaxation moves down into your neck, your shoulders, all the way down your arms to your fingertips. And that relaxation then moves into your upper body as you feel your chest muscles, your stomach muscles, all of your back muscles start to relax. As that relaxation moves down into your hips, your pelvis, your buttocks sinking you deeper down where you are sitting. Relaxation moves down into your legs, all the way down to your toes, and your whole body is just so relaxed. And I want you now to engage your imagination and imagine a staircase with 8 stairs leading down to a door. And in a moment, you're going to walk down those stairs from 8 to 1, each descending number relaxing you more and more. So, walking down the stairs now, 8, going deeper down the stairs, 7, deeper down the stairs, 6, more and more relaxed. Deeper down the stairs, 5, deeper down the stairs, 4. Deeper down the stairs, 3, more and more relaxed. Deeper down the stairs, 2, all the way down the stairs, 1. And you find yourself in front of a door. And as you open that door, you step through. And you step through into a foggy night. A foggy night in a wood. And it's autumn, wintry time as the branches are free of leaves and the moonlight is shining down, but it's kind of like a yellowy, greeny colour as it comes through the fog. And it feels so quiet, so peaceful. And you walk a few steps into this woodland, into these trees, and you notice that the beam of light from the moon seems to be shining down onto a stump. So you settle yourself down on this stump, and as you do, you feel something flutter by the side of you, and an owl just rests itself on your shoulder, and you feel the warmth of it as it snuggles up to you. Owl has so much wisdom that it can bring to you, but to hear it, you need to be in the silence of this forest. For in silence, peace prevails, and when peace prevails, guidance and inspiration come. So I'll just leave you for a moment or two, sitting there in this moonlight, in this foggy wood, with a beautiful owl next to you, in silence, enjoying the peace. And you find as you sit in this silence, in this solitude, guidance and information just seems to come from you. Wisdom, the knowledge of the owl, the silence. Now it's almost time to come back. So you thank the owl for being there on your shoulder as you feel it just flutter away. And you stand up from that stump and you make your way back to the door. And you step through that door feeling so wonderful. That peace, that silence, that solitude. You realize how much you miss that in your busy life. And you know that solitude every now and again, when you sit in silence and you have that peace, great inspiration comes to you. So in a moment, I'm going to count you from 1 to 8, each ascending number bringing you back up the stairs, remembering that beautiful peace and tranquility and that guidance that you received. So coming up the stairs now, 1, coming further up the stairs, 2, all the way up the stairs, 3, coming further up the stairs, 4, further up the stairs, 5, remembering everything, further up the stairs, 6, further up the stairs, 7, bringing back that peace, further up the stairs, 8, all the way back, wiggle fingers and toes, move your body, open your eyes, and welcome back.
Hmm, that was so nice.
I'll give everyone a moment or two that's been watching to actually come back in. And when they come back in, the card that we obviously got was solitude. In silence, peace prevails.
Oh,
So, as the guided meditation kind of like was saying, that, this card has come out because it's kind of, and it's really actually a theme that's been coming through a lot in these first couple of weeks in January. It's taking the time for yourself. It's taking the time to sit in that silence, to actually listen to your inner guidance, so that you can get the information, the inspiration that when January finishes, you can then move forward, and birth whatever information is being given to you. But you need to spend that time in solitude,
mm,
doing that without the busyness of everything going on around you.
that was so nice.
Ah, lovely.
I
Um,
didn't want to come back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes you really don't want to go back. Although, Eric, thank you for the meditation. My mind wanted me to go to a sunny beach first, but I did eventually get to the woods. Well, if you wanted to go to the sunny beach, you could still do the same and sit in the peace and the solitude, um,
Mm.
around there. Um, and that. So, Alexi, do you have any insights or thoughts of last words of wisdom to leave our viewers?
Oh, I think it's funny because the owl, I was waiting for a message, and I know when I try too hard, nothing ever comes. And so I just relaxed into it. And I just heard the owl say, "You're good. You are good." I'm like, "Oh, is that you talking to me?" You know what I mean? And it was. And then that movie, The Never Ending Story,
Mm.
where there's this gigantic dog, and all of a sudden I'm right, this owl is humongous and we're going on this trip, and then you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna call you back." I'm like, "No, we just started." But so I guess the parting words of wisdom would be that you're good, because a lot of the things that my clients discover when they do their hand analysis with me is that who they are, who they always knew themselves to be, that good part, not the one that beats yourself up, right? That you're good. It's okay to be you. Everything you want is okay to have. So I guess that, because to me, having your hands read is like a way to give yourself permission to be yourself, that you are good and you are okay and all is well.
Absolutely, absolutely perfect. So thank you so much. So I hope
Yeah.
everyone that you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful as I have, and that everyone watching has got a brief view of me. Um, talking about going public, my hands,
Yes.
are there with it. So, Alexi, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Go to askalexi.com, and I think Ray will be putting it down below in the link. ASKALEXI.com, because I'm going to be posting a free training where you can learn a little bit more about yourself through your own hands. So it'll be posted this week.
Ah, that's brilliant. And I
Yeah.
think you also have do you have something where you can actually have a look at your hand as well?
What do you mean?
Um,
Oh, where they can learn about their own hands.
yes.
Yes, yes, that's the free training I'm gonna post.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and then
Excellent.
they
Yeah.
could reach me through that website.
Absolutely brilliant. And of
Yes.
course, don't forget if you've been watching this, you've got till the 21st of January. If you want to post a picture of your hand in the comments, and Alexi will give you a very brief outline of the palms of the lines of your hand.
Yes.
So do take her up on that offer, which will be absolutely brilliant.
And
And
again, it's not predictive. It's just what is popping out to me as far as things that you might wanna consider looking at. Yeah.
yeah, 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 absolutely perfect. Because
Mhm.
as you've got to remember, everything is to do with the present. Whatever we
Yes.
do in the past, future, even though I work with them, it always comes back to what you need to know in your present. because it's so important that we are fully present in the here and now, um, especially at this time. So thank you everyone who's been watching the show and joining in. Thank you, Eric, Caroline, Carolyn,
Sharmila.
and Shamila and Scorpio Sun. Thank you all so much for
Mhm.
watching and saying hello and sharing your comments and everything. And of course, if you are now ready to remember your divine presence and step onto your spiritual multidimensional path, but you feel lost, confused, stuck, or alone, then please feel free to connect with me, and we can discuss how. Where you are now and how you can move forward to take charge of your destiny so you can spread your wings and soar. And of course, please feel free to join my weekly newsletter, and receive a free future life progression recording where I take you into future lifetime to get guidance and clarity that you can use in your current life, as well as a couple of other free gifts. And again, thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you, and get an understanding of how their hands
Mhm.
can give them some insights into what is going on in their life at this moment. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified when the show goes live or I post new guided meditations, as each subscription really does help. And I look forward to you all joining me, same time, same place next week. Again, thank you everyone for who's been watching, and thank you, Alexi, for your wisdom.
Thank
It's been
you.
absolutely brilliant, and for looking at my hands.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your hands with me, Ray. And thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.